iodine and IQ are super closely linked. It turns out, because it's so essential in brain development, that a child that has iodine deficiency, because mom had iodine deficiency, um, have up to a 20-point lower IQ, which is the difference between like being one of the innovators that the world's going to depend on to figure out solutions for all the different things we want to solve and need to solve out there, and just being like average or like struggling through college or not getting in, or it's a huge life and game changer. It's so easy to prevent.
Hello, Wellness Beauties. Andrea here, your personal wellness connector, and welcome back to another amazing interview with a very dear friend of mine. Today, we are going to be talking about minerals. You read about it, you see it, you hear about it. Pretty much, I feel like right now, everybody is talking about minerals and the importance of minerals and how deficient so many of us are in minerals, especially because our soils are so deficient. I won't go into too much detail because I want to give the spotlight to my really dear friend, really good and dear friend, Barton Scott, who's the founder of Upgraded Formulas, which are literally my favorite minerals on the market. And he is my mineral go-to guy. So Barton, welcome back and thank you for joining us. What's going on?
It's a pleasure to be back. Beautiful day here, and happy to chat about this, my favorite topic. So.
It is your favorite topic and your expertise. I mean, you really are like a mineral genius. I mean, I call you like the crazy mineral scientist. So since we're targeting busy and overwhelmed women here that just kind of want to get straight to the point, they could read all about you underneath the interview. So let's get right into it.
Yep.
Minerals.
Yep.
I feel like most people hear about the basic minerals, and electrolytes and magnesium. Give us a little bit of an overview of some important minerals that are very much needed for our bodies to function correctly.
Absolutely. So we want to we want to avoid fatigue. That's one of the biggest things, right? So for anyone listening right now, you probably would love to have more energy. You'd probably love to sleep better. And I know this because besides being a chemical engineer and a nutritionist, I've actually looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hair analyses. That's part of what we do. And these are some of the common things that come up for people. So some of those minerals that you can use to counteract that are potassium, magnesium, actually really good quality salt, and then making sure you don't have too much calcium. Calcium is really easy to get from the diet, and then beyond that, it's minerals like manganese, which we'll talk about later separately, that help with blood sugar, thyroid function, iodine, which helps with thyroid function, um, selenium, which helps with iodine function, and if taken daily for 7 years, cuts the risk of just about all cancers in half. There's just so many of these things that are so powerful, and they really activate all the enzymatic pathways in the body. And when those aren't activated, you feel tired. So, for a number of different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this during my Breaking Up with Exhaustion masterclass, right? We went into detail about minerals and testing and how it, pertains to fatigue, right? And that's the number one thing you mentioned. And it's what most busy women are dealing with, right? Every busy woman I talk to, she's like, I'm just so freaking stinking tired. Give me something. And of course, the obvious answer is, well, you need more sleep. But sometimes you can't get that, especially as, for example, a new mom, right? So these are such great things to bring up. And sometimes just something as easy as increasing your magnesium, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next. It can make a huge difference. So let's actually go into that with your experience. There's so many minerals, right? And we'll do product reviews on all of them, which I'm so excited about. So you guys could check that out in a different video. However, with your experience, all the testing you have looked at, what are like the four top minerals that we should be looking at?
Yeah, the four that make the biggest difference, it seems like for most people, are making sure that you have plenty of magnesium, making sure you have plenty of sodium, which if you're eating a low carb diet, you probably don't have enough sodium. You need about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of good quality sea salt a day. And probably and more if you're like extra active, right? So if you're running 5 miles or more a day or something, working out really hard, hitting that hit class, and then staying busy and active during the day, or just working constantly, your adrenals are working hard, right? And or if you're drinking a lot of coffee, your adrenals are working hard. So I'm not saying not to do any of that, but the key really is to support your body in that process. So those, and then potassium is something we see people be so low in. So that's a big seller for us because it's so essential for so many things. Like your muscles can't contract without it. Your heart would stop beating without it. Same with magnesium, same with sodium. And then calcium, usually making sure you don't have too much of it. That's a really big one. Otherwise, you get stiff in your joints. So yeah.
Gotcha. So let's go back to those a little bit. I want to explore it just a little bit more. With magnesium, I know now in the morning, so I'm experimenting with the carnivore diet right now. So that's like a no carb diet, pretty much, right? So every morning I take a teaspoon of really good salt. I actually put in some electrolytes. I have like a good electrolyte powder and I mix it up. And then I put in some extra of your potassium. And then I take your magnesium at night, just like stir this thing up and chug it. Do I love it? Absolutely not. I usually do like a little bit of sip of something else after to just kind of like, some people love the salty taste. I feel like you love the salty taste. Every
I
time I
do.
see you, like, I have salt in my water. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
but hey, you got to do what you got to do to keep up these, minerals. So let's go into magnesium a little bit more.
Yeah.
Why do we need magnesium?
And this helps you stay hydrated too. All of these things that Andrea is talking about right now really help you stay hydrated. So if you're one of those people that find yourself like not really wanting to drink water, I know so many people like this, then yeah, like put a little bit of flavoring in it, like maybe VCAAs or something. It's not going to break your fast. It's going to support that lean muscle. It's going to keep that metabolism up there. And yeah, salt and magnesium are essential, and potassium too. So we'll have an electrolyte product very, very soon. It's almost done, and it's going to have a limeade flavor, which is super delicious. I've tried several versions of it, and I'm really loving it. So stay tuned for that. But I'm super excited about it. But yeah, those things are so essential. You quite literally can't do, your body can't function the way it needs to properly without those.
Gotcha. So going back to magnesium, I just want to make sure that we go
Yeah,
back to that.
sure.
What's the importance of magnesium?
Yeah,
Why do we
so
need it?
yeah, why do we need it? So magnesium is essential for your liver function, your brain function. It helps send signal from the pineal to thyroid. So that whole HPA axis function. So energy production, good sleep is probably the big one. Cramps, for you ladies out there, if it's that time of the month, if you're having horrendous cramps, try supplementing some of the liquid magnesium that we make at Upgraded Formulas, and under 5 minutes in my experience, usually even less than that, leg cramps go away, period cramps go away. And that's a huge relief because even just having a simple foot cramp just sucks.
Yeah.
Leg
What
cramp,
about
you know?
what about taking extra magnesium like a few days before you get your period? Is that a good hack as well?
Oh, yeah, it's a great hack. And just testing, I think Andrea mentioned a test that we have. If not, we'll get into that here soon. But we measure your hair, and that's either hair from the scalp, underarms, pubic region. And that is super, super helpful because it lets you know, like you said, get ahead of it. But, the best way to get ahead of it is to really test, have a consultation, really understand your results, and then make and supplement that deficiency away. and do that every 3 or so months to make sure that, wow, I'm really dialing in on this. And look, the return on investment, because you have plenty of energy, is worth doing that test. I've believe me.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's actually time for me to redo mine. But okay, so we went into magnesium a little bit. What about iodine? You spoke about iodine as being some of the top four. And again, we have respect for every single one of them. There's no
Yeah.
top or bottom, but we're just kind of
Yeah.
going through some of the main ones. So iodine, we hear
Yeah.
a lot about it from my experiences with a lot of the practitioners that I work with. A lot of them are very concerned that, people are so deficient in iodine. It's not present in our soils. It's so important for thyroid function, for proper detoxification and everything else. And I know it's one of those things where you're supposed to be taking it slowly, because a lot of people seem to get side effects if they take too much at once. What's your experience, and give us the lowdown on iodine? Why do we need that as a mineral?
So well said. So 96% of people at 6,000 were deficient in a study.
Wow.
Some were already taking iodine. So yeah, you're eating a clean diet. You're most likely still, though, not getting iodine for the reasons you mentioned. For moms out there, absolutely start working on this before you get pregnant, while you're pregnant, while you're breastfeeding, because iodine and IQ are super closely linked. It turns out, because it's so essential in brain development, that a child that has iodine deficiency, because mom had iodine deficiency, um, have about up to a 20-point lower IQ, which is the difference between like being one of the innovators that the world's going to depend on to figure out solutions for all the different things we want to solve and need to solve out there, and just being like average, or like struggling through college, or not getting in, or it's a huge life and game changer. It's so easy to prevent. So we have a really big dose of it because most iodine supplements are just they're poorly absorbed. Sure, that's definitely true. You absorb about 20% of most minerals, and that's the reason why upgraded formulas exist, is because that just wasn't ever going to be good enough. But the other thing is that the dose is just way too small. So Japan, for example, really high IQ, longest longevity of any developed country. They eat 80 to 100 times more iodine per day than we do. So yeah, that's a big deal. And it's antiviral, it's antimicrobial, so it helps reduce that load in the body that you're dealing with. So that can help with fatigue too. And yeah, I think ideally you would dose it a couple times during the day, and in relatively small amounts. So maybe yeah, there's a dropper on that bottle that we have, so you can just dose it throughout the day. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
And we'll go more into dosing and everything else. You guys could check out the product interview that we did do on iodine. So you could get more details on iodine there. Due to the lack of time, and I like to keep this pretty short, let's pick one more mineral out of your top four that you want to really highlight before we finish this off.
Yeah, and one other thing about magnesium, just to go back to that, was if you're suffering from brain fog, it's probably because you don't have enough magnesium or potassium or sodium. So I think that trio right there is like very important to think about. And then beyond that, I would say there's a blend of minerals that I've seen almost everyone be low in, like 95% of people are low in these, and that's manganese, phosphorus, boron, iodine, and molybdenum. We put all of those into the upgraded memory formula, and it's called that for a reason. It's because those things help with cognitive function. So
Wow.
that's the last thing I would focus on, and we can talk more about that in a separate sort of like product interview for
Yeah.
check out.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll go into details for all of them. I just wanted to kind of have a big overview, and I think you did such a great job. One last thing I wanted to leave this off with is the testing. You touched on it already, so let's keep it quick. Why test rather than guess?
Yeah, yeah, that is such a cornerstone to what we do. So this test and consultation changed my life, really changed my perspective. And it also is part of the reason why upgraded formulas exist, is because I got so much value out of seeing that I was chronically low in some of the nutrients we already talked about. And I had been taking them for a year and a half. And I was already taking good brands. I already knew what good brands were. And you start to think, well, all right, so if I'm taking enough, these are the best brands available at the time. This was 8 years ago. Then what do I do? Because I'm clearly not absorbing it. And by then I was like, in my mid 20s. So things weren't going to get better. I mean, I was already cutting out these toxic triggers. So, and this is a similar story for every one of you, whether you've tested for these nutrients or not, I promise you. So this is your story too. And, what it really came down to was you have to really test. You have to have a consultation to understand what you really are missing, and that will help you by fixing that, addressing that. You'll consistently, basically test, consultation with us, uh, make some simple diet switches, like nothing major. Just eat more of these foods, eat less of these foods because they have these nutrients. But like you said, the soil's pretty depleted, so you want to definitely supplement. And we recommend which specific supplements that we have, and then not others based on maybe you're high in some of these. So and the ratios matter. So we talk through all of these different things, and that's a real game changer. It's just a complete like new lease on life. You feel empowered in your health, and therefore in your life you feel free ultimately, because you can't go on that 2 week vacation to Greece without your thyroid meds if you're on thyroid meds. But this eventually can help you get off of those things, because your body's not deficient in medication of any sort, which all medications are at least somewhat toxic to the body. And this is a big thing that I'm very passionate about. But those minerals are really what your body is missing. So we're identifying them and we're replacing them. It's as simple as that.
Yep. And I mean, I could vouch for the testing part because, again, there's some things that you could take. Like right now, I could almost guarantee that you're most likely deficient in magnesium, right? And you could start taking it right away and feel better. But then to take it to the next level where you and I spoke about this, right? I was deficient in magnesium. Then you looked at the ratios, which matter so much. I started upping my magnesium, your magnesium, started feeling great. And then I retested and I was actually very high in magnesium, like ultimate high. And you and I spoke and you're like, well, check your vitamin B levels, because if you don't have enough B vitamins, you might not be absorbing the magnesium. And guess what? I did my blood work and my B vitamins were super low. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So
Yeah.
it's a mastery, right? And you and your company do it so well. So I want to thank you. We're going to end this interview to keep it, to my promised 15-minute time. I'm
Yeah.
going to link to everything below. Guys, make sure you are checking out all of our other interviews specifically on specific minerals and products that me and Barton have done. We'll be releasing those little by little. And go ahead. What else?
Yeah, one more bonus tip for anyone out there. I would also add vitamin B6 to that list and take it like 50 milligrams twice a day, because if you're tired, if you feel like you have the symptoms that we just talked about, go ahead and take that. It's not going to be harmful to the body if you're already, have good levels of it. And then, do your tests when you can. But, what happened with Andrea specifically is she was absorbing the magnesium and she was absorbing plenty of it, but the body was taking it. The cells were taking it, but she, and this has been the case for me in the past, so many people in the past. You need that cofactor B6 to activate and really utilize. It's just a utilization. So the absorption was happening. You just have to utilize it. So yeah, it's beautiful. It all works together.
I love it. And you guys, I mean, you and your team, again, you have top quality minerals. We've third party tested them. They are clean of all the crap out there that other supplements have. Top quality. You have the test super reasonably priced to do, a few times a year. You keep testing so you're not guessing. I have so many people in our groups, in our practitioner groups, talking about, crap, I tried all these things on keto and my clients are still not feeling well. And it's always some sort of a mineral deficiency. So crucial, so important. Guys, thank you for following this video. Thank you for giving us your precious time. Make sure you are subscribing and check out the other videos that I have done with Barton on his amazing supplements.